Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Whitley and today we're going to talk about journaling. Journaling to me is probably one of the most beneficial things a human being can do for themselves. There are so many benefits and maybe one negative, and the one negative thing of journaling is when you become too dependent on it and you can't process in real time on your own certain things. There are two ways to approach journaling, and that's through a stream of consciousness format, and then there's also a structured format. And there are many methods and techniques one can use in regards to journaling, but the overall goal of journaling is to develop an inner connection with yourself, to develop insight and to reflect on how certain things in your life are unfolding. But that all depends on how you approach journaling, and there are many ways to approach journaling. First and foremost, the number one thing a person needs when it comes to journaling is a journal. Well, this is the one I'm using right now. This is one of my favorite journals. This is one of my favorite colors. I love that it's a larger journal where I could just really put some thoughts on this paper, and depending on how I want to format and structure it, depending on the day, it allows me the space to either section it off or just free write. And if you don't want to use a physical copy, there's always digital copies. There's so much out there nowadays that you could just download apps. You could buy things like Remarkable or the iPad, where you could just use a digital pen to write, which I always believe that writing by hand, it is proven that it helps motor circuits within your brain commit certain things to memory, like when you're studying for a test, or it helps with recall overall. The effect that it has on your stress levels, let's say you're doing a mind dump, it helps to decrease cortisol levels within yourself. I always prefer old school style, pen and paper. So after you get your journal, after you find a pen that you really like, it could be anything, but this is the pen I'm using today. It's a beautiful blue pen. You could choose whatever color. You could choose whatever you want. Make it your own. There's no real way to get this wrong other than not to try at all. But once you have those things, whether or not you want to do digital or hard copy physical journal, the idea is to use a technique when approaching journaling. And that could be the two different methods. That could be a stream of consciousness approach or a structured approach. I think when you're first starting journaling, you want to probably start with a stream of consciousness approach, because the idea is that you want to become more comfortable with allowing yourself to have a dialogue with yourself. You also just want to be able to just free write and see where it takes you and see if you feel comfortable. I think comfort is a major theme when allowing yourself to start journaling, because as you continue on this journey and you probably switch over into structured formats and you start doing journaling prompts, there are certain questions that may be asked that you may feel uncomfortable answering. And until you really get comfortable with the idea of opening up and allowing yourself to put your thoughts, feelings, and emotions out onto paper, and knowing that it is a form of a safe space, then you probably won't really want to start with the structured format. So that's why starting with stream of consciousness just really allows you to get there in the first place. So there are many forms of stream of consciousness journaling, and that is some that I will name are mind dumps, morning pages, belief dumping. There is free writing. What you're doing is you're taking a piece of paper or your journal and you're taking a pen and you're literally writing whatever comes to mind. There is no structure. There's no right way, no wrong way. You could write the most ridiculous of sentences, beliefs. Whatever comes out of your brain goes to paper. There's no real thought behind it. Just sitting there and journaling. What I like the most about, the one that I like the most about all of those are the morning pages, because it is a contained framework with which you can do this in, and it's up to 3 pages. When it comes to mind dumps or free writes, morning pages, I think you really do want to give yourself a limit. And at most, when it comes to this. At most, I think 30 minutes is a fair amount of time, because at that point you're probably just writing unnecessarily. But the idea is within 30 minutes you want to be able to get every thought in your brain out onto the page so that it's no longer within you. And by doing this, you are allowing yourself to decrease stress levels if that's what you have, decrease anxiety, decrease feelings of depression. There have been so many studies, you can Google and look it up for yourself, about the benefits of just mind dumping, free writing morning pages. It has so many benefits. And the more stressed you are in life, the more stressed, the more anxious you are, the more things go wrong, the more not present you are in your actual life. And so by doing this daily practice of mind dumping, you're able to really gain more control over yourself and your emotional state and well-being. So that's the first method of journaling. And then the second method is structured format. And so with structured format, there's literally many methods to this. There is bullet journaling. There's journaling for emotional processing. There's journaling for diagrams. There's journaling for clarification and articulation of perhaps an argument or within yourself, or there's reflective journaling. There's shadow work journaling. Shadow work and emotional processing are very similar. There is gratitude journaling. If you're into anything metaphysical, there's scripting or writing out your goals and your desires and what you want from life. There's life mapping, which goes back into diagrams or conceptual frameworks. I mean, the list goes on, right? And when you have these structured concepts or structured formats when it comes to journaling, you're able to use it as a conceptual framework with which you can allow yourself to grow and expand within that framework. And a lot of these structured forms of journaling are all about developing yourself in a form. If you're journaling for reflection or shadow work or emotional processing, the idea is for you to gain clarity and understanding about an issue that you're having. And if done right, then you'll learn how to think on paper and solve that problem. And I say if done right because with structure, there is a process to it, and adhering to the process is really important. And any step out of the process, and now don't beat yourself up about it if on the first try it doesn't go 100%. The idea is to become more comfortable and confident in doing these things. But by giving yourself the structure, by having prompts or conceptual frameworks, you're allowing yourself to grow and expand in a way that you normally probably wouldn't have before, because you're challenging your thinking, you're challenging your approach to things, and you're trying on for size a thought process that may or may not work for you, depending on what it is. Another thing about journaling, some things that I think is really important, you can journal at any time of the day. I do believe journaling is a practice, and it's most impactful when you journal daily, because what happens is you get to see your change. And what I mean by that, especially in regards to structured journaling, if you're solving for a problem, you're able to see in real time your hand in things, your mental framework in regards to how you want to approach things. Identify the time of day. I personally like to wake up first thing in the morning and do a lot of mind dumping. Once that's done and I get more meditative and in tune with myself, and I take a moment to just sit there and be with myself and connect with myself. And some people are not for meditation and getting still and quiet, because what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to meet your thoughts and not become them. And it's called the observer effect. It's when you sit there and you observe all the thoughts that are coming to you, all of your feeling states, and you're not allowing it to determine your mood. Sometimes you can start with the meditative state, or you can end with the meditative state after you have let everything go, depending on where you're at. So once I do that, I wake up in the morning, I get into a meditative state. If I have something that's really bothering me or affecting my mood, I go straight into journaling. There are times where I've woken up and I've just woken up not well. I've had a restless sleep. I go straight into journaling. I allow myself to take up space within journaling. I will even time it. And so I'll sit there, I'll brain dump, I'll mind dump, and then I'll go into my meditative state. Depending on what I'm trying to do, let's say I want to plan my week or plan my month or plan my finances, then I introduce the structured format. You can format your journal in many ways. You can give sections, you can do bullet points, you can do dashes, you can make it a collage format. There's no right and wrong approach to this. You have to decide what you want to do with your journaling, how it can benefit you in the long run. Once the journal is finished or the day is over, depending on how you want to approach this, I usually like to reflect on the previous journal entry. And depending on the time of day, let's say you do daily journaling and you like to do it in the morning and at night, you reflect on how your day went. Once you come home before you go to bed, you're able to release many things and to just get rid of the anxiety. The thing with journaling, it allows me to get really present and to be emotionally current when I'm doing, let's say, emotional processing journaling. It allows me to take a situation, identify the feeling that I felt behind it, acknowledge it, understand what the cause of that feeling was, what triggered it. When I'm doing this emotional process, I allow myself to go there and understand why I was triggered, how it relates to me, and then I come up with a solution on how I'm going to choose to move forward. And then there are many ways that could happen. Sometimes I don't want to solve for it immediately. Sometimes I want to give myself time to think about it and continue to just work through certain thoughts or beliefs or associations and really see how it affects me. If I'm doing shadow work, which is another form of emotionally processing, I allow myself to sit there and dig within myself and go to the subconscious levels and see what comes up. And usually I'm able to do this best with journal prompts for self-discovery. Ones that I've used that I've felt the most personal transformation with that I think would be helpful. When it comes to conceptual framework journaling, usually it's like a diagram. You have this idea of ikigai. And within this framework, you're able to see in real time how you should approach something. And living with that mental framework or choosing into that mental framework, you go forward and see how it affects you. Journaling for gratitude. It's an activity that focuses on positive thinking, regardless of what may be affecting you. If you've never journaled, it's no better time than to start right now, today, whenever you find this video, and see how the benefits of allowing yourself, depending on what method you use. The one encouraging thought that I really want to leave with you is allow yourself to go there and build that connection with yourself and reflect on how life is affecting you, how your relationships are affecting you. Allow yourself to go there. You deserve it. The overall goal of journaling is to grow and develop as a human being to the best capacity that you can. I hope you have found value in this message. If you like what you've seen, like, comment, subscribe for more. Have a lovely, beautiful day, evening. Thank you so very much. Bye.